Good morning, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Actually, just looked at the clock on the wall and it says 20 after 12. Oh God, I've made my first mistake. Well, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines anyway. It is me here and we are here together. So, I wanted to talk about the paradise that we live in. What people who look at our videos conceive of paradise. Here's the reality. If you look at the videos that we're watching now, that we're making, that we put out for you, if you look at them and you think that it's paradise, then it is paradise. And if you look at them and think, well, there's a lot of litter about, isn't there? And who threw that trash on the floor? Well, it's not paradise for you, and you probably would not enjoy visiting us. So cross it off your calendar, because you won't enjoy this scruffy little hilltop farm that we call paradise. Because, for one thing, there's a ton of work going on here all the time. We are building things, we are knocking things down, we're digging things up, we're laying things on, we're doing all kinds of stuff. And all kinds of stuff creates disorder. As well as creating order, it creates disorder. It's a little bit like when you go to clean a room. When you start cleaning it, it's just a bit untidy, but once you get into it and start moving furniture out and putting it in the middle of the floor and sweeping around the edges, boy, you see the trash pile up and all kinds of stuff that you hadn't done and intended to do and wanted to do and never got round to. There they all are in the middle of the floor, waiting to be sorted out. So, what started off as a clean and tidy up turns out to be spring clean and massive disorder and massive other things that you never did, that you really should have done and wish you hadn't rediscovered. So that's our life on our little hilltop farm. That's what it is. It's 10 acres, or 10, well, it's more than that. It's about 10 hectares, and a lot of that we never ever set foot on, because you can't. Although the hills that you see, which are so beautiful as scenery, look so inviting, they look like an English meadow where the ground is smooth and there's not a thing that can happen to you. Here it's not quite that same way. You stick to the path and you don't go off wandering in the grass, because there's probably what you perceive as a meadow is probably what was ploughed up the year before last, and the hummocks and holes and mounts, and they're all still there. And so when you go trekking out over the fields, it's not quite what you thought. That's why there are pathways. These pathways have been they've been trodden by many people who are going on their way from A to B and B to C and C to D and so on. And so if you're writing in and saying, well, you said there's some trash there, but it's not made by the storm, it's made by you. Well, that's true. And the truth is, I suppose, that when you get 10 or 12 people all living together and they're wandering around and they're doing stuff and they're getting on with their lives and they're achieving things and meeting challenges, they create a bit of a mess. And that's the fact. And it's not the paradise that people think. It's paradise to us. We love where we live. We readily, willingly pay all of those prices. We pay the price for living where we do because we love it. And if we get stuck in the mud, well, okay, we get stuck in the mud and we dig ourselves out and we continue on. And we talk about our plans for changing things. And then of course there'll be people who say, well, you went out to the country because you're a city boy and now you're changing everything. Well, yes, we're changing everything. The one constant in the universe is change, and that's the thing that keeps changing. So our paradise may not be your paradise. On the other hand, you may come here and wish with all your heart that you could live the life that we lead, or not. So we're happy to say that things are changing. Things are changing for the better. The area that was outside Nanai's house, it's quite a big area, something like, let's make a guess and say, I don't know, 40 or 50 feet by 50 feet. And before we actually put concrete down, it was just a mess of mud. We walked and tried to get into trucks. We tried to then turn trucks around, do 2 and 3 point, 5 point turns in order to turn around. We got stuck in the mud. We did all of this. We walked down, we slipped, we fell, we got up again. And now it's concreted and we don't do any of those things. Now, once we start to park in here, when the concrete has finally cured perfectly, then we'll have a much better time. Plus, we do intend to cover half of that area with a one-piece roof, which will make it a good area for kids. We have kids. There are 7 children, plus any number of visiting children who like to come up here and like to ride down in the truck. They like to do all kinds of stuff. You have to understand that Nanai isn't just our Nanai. She is Nanai to a lot of people. She's not Maxima to some and Nanai to others. It seems that she is Nanai to everyone. A little bit like a subscriber that has been a great supporter of ours, and that's Tita. And Tita, I always thought, in my ignorance, I always thought of Tita as her name come code name. And she told me recently that that's not my name. Tita is what everybody calls me. Everybody calls me Auntie. Doesn't that tell you something about Tita? That everybody thinks of her as Auntie. In other words, she occupies a position of a given respect, that people look up to her and they call her Auntie. And that means a lot. Nanai is Nanai to everybody, irrespective of whether she is their mother, even though Nanai means mother. So there are things here that people have taken to. We had one visitor recently, I think 2 or 3 nights was about as much as he could stand, and then that was Victor, and he said, Terence, it's too isolated for me. I need to see more people. I'm going into town. I'm going to take a hotel room in town. And he didn't stay there long. He went on with his adventure. And that's good for him. On the other hand, Tracy came and Brian came as well. And gosh, they are adopted sons to Nanai. You see, so sometimes our paradise is paradise to some, and sometimes it's not paradise to others. And we have dearest friends who have said, I can't do without the air conditioning. Sorry. And they probably will never visit. We'll have to go down there and press gang them into the truck and come back here, and by that time we'll have had an AC unit fitted in the guest house, and we'll hope to enjoy their company. But believe me, when you come and you are an adopted daughter or a son, you go down and we eat in the humblest concrete floor kitchen, and that is Nanai's kitchen, where she cooks on an open fire. It's not everybody's paradise, but it's pretty special to us. I had shared with both Brian and Tracy, our recent guests, and also Dwayne, that I intended in that small porch that is in the guest house, that I was going to make like a little mini kitchen with a microwave and a kettle and a supply of water, that people could perhaps make themselves a sandwich or something like that. And but they all said, no, don't do that, because eating as a family, with the family, is a most important part of the experience. So we're leaving it that way. It's our kind of paradise, and when people come to stay, they're invited into it, warts and all. We don't rush around and tidy up. It is what it is, and when you come, it's the way that we live. Now, the other part of our paradise is the work that we do. Do we take you, if you're a visitor, do we take you to a white beach? Well, it may be that we might take you swimming, or we might take you to the adventure park, but in the main, you just sit in the passenger seat and you go with us to do our work. It's not a white beach and pina colada type of vacation. We take you into the mountains where we're looking at possibly building yet another house. House number 27 is way up in the mountains, right near the hillside, the house that we built on a hillside, very steep hillside like this, and we built a house up there for a family. And very close to it is another tiny little concealed village called a barangay here, of course. And the people have been building, the family have been building their house for over a year and just cannot get it finished. And even before I saw the house, I said to Beth, it sounds like the skeleton house. And if you look at the video of the skeleton house, you'll understand what it is that we are going to do when we do raise the finance for house number 27. Right now we're working on house 26, which we will be showing you later. So from our little corner of paradise, which is way up in the mountains, it's not the Eiger Sanction, by the way, it's not the north face of Everest, it's mountains by virtue of the altitude, and it's a struggle to get up there, and we're dealing with that too. Okay, no complaints. Right, from our little corner of that paradise, thanks for looking in. We hope you will come and see us very soon. The guest house is not a paying concern. You come and you are welcome to stay as guests and subscribers, and we hope that you will exchange some communication before you do that, so that we know who we are receiving, because as I say, it's not for everybody. This is all from me. Thanks for looking in. Thanks for sharing this time with me. Bye for now. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and perhaps even share. Bye for now.